solutions, actual concrete solutions to our issues when needed. Finally, what I learned is that we have to think outside the box in moving forward. There are extended options that we need to consider very closely when we are thinking of the future of our urban core, and especially when we're thinking of how we're going to make our neighborhood schools work for us. I'm a huge advocate of neighborhood schools, and there's going to be more to come, but it is a priority for me to make sure that we have neighborhood schools. So overall, there's a lot of plans in motion, and you have an advocate in me to make sure that significant amount of seats are unlocked, that we plan for capacity, and that we work on unfolding these ideas in a way that are reliable and doable for us. So that's on a micro level for the urban core. On a macro level and moving forward, we need to take a look at how we can improve education. The pandemic has shown us that we absolutely have to think of ways to truly engage our students. Obviously, learning through a screen is hard, and it did not work for many, but it also has been damaging to students' self-esteem, students' academic progress, and also their physical eyes. That's why in my first board item last month, I was able to proffer an item directing the superintendent to do an informational campaign about vision wellness. It's called Vision 2021, and ensure that students are being diagnosed correctly. They might be struggling academically or behaviorally, and we want to make sure that that's not due to any visual impairments due to the increased screen time. So what we really need to do is make sure that in moving forward, we're looking ahead to look for more balanced approaches, more engaging approaches, more real-world approaches. Obviously, technology is the future, but we want to be using that technology two-dimensionally, three-dimensionally, whichever way, not just in this back and forth through the screen. So we want to definitely rethink that. Also, we want to make sure that we are building relationships. So in my second board item today, which I will be proffering in a few hours, is related to a campaign and directing the superintendent to take advantage of opportunities to bring our students together with people in the community. Right now with COVID, being a teacher, I always remember students would come to me like the last few months of school asking for community service hours because they needed it for a scholarship, this or that. And right now, our students don't have that opportunity because many of our organizations have their doors closed. So I've partnered with United Way, Jewish Community Services, and other home health cares, and we will be having a Seniors for Seniors program, well, hopefully if it passes, where we're gonna be pairing up seniors, students that are 18 or 18 with senior citizens. But in general, all this is saying is that now more than ever, we need to be fostering relationships that inspire our students, that give them knowledge, wisdom, and that can affect many aspects of their lives in the future. So those are really, I will leave you with that. I'm truly excited to be your representative on the school board, and I look forward to a great relationship with all of you that will benefit our students and our community as a whole. Thank you for this time.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bies-Geller. Lucia, do you mind if I call you Lucia?
No, that's okay. No. It's normally Lucia, but Lucia.
Lucia, I will do that. It's my Haitian sensibility, trying to make it more than it is. We did have a couple questions that were submitted. Thank you very much, by the way, for being here. And again, I know on a school board day, meeting day, I appreciate it. First question was, how optimistic are you with the fresh start of a new administration that we'll see some funding coming towards public education? Because we've had a lot of cuts. You optimistic?
I'm very optimistic in our district, 100%. Our superintendent has absolutely said that there is 100% job security. There will be no cuts to our employees. So that's a start. But similarly, we have been able to plan now The expected cut is going to actually be between 6 and 10%. And so every department is right now planning for that. And they're working on that to expect that. And none of it is cutting people. So I think we're going to be able to weather this storm.
Excellent. One of the issues we have with Southside being an urban school the way it is, it's a different campus than most of our other school models that are in the suburban areas. Outdoor access, and especially now during COVID and having to socially and physically distance, it's a challenge for Southside. So what thoughts do you have about helping to alleviate that for the current campus, but also making sure that the new campus has access to outdoor facilities and the kids can get as comparable an education as they would in a suburban school?
Oh, absolutely. So I think the question is really, how do we address growth, but also address the real holistic socio-emotional mental health needs of our students, and how can we come up with a solution? So again, like I said, the Urban Core has a history of these great partnerships and collaboration and different approaches, and we can carve out parcels of land that may be privately used. We can consider different options in terms of surrounding areas. And more importantly, we want to focus on the projects that were in the pipeline, ensuring that they already address these concerns. We already know that green space is important. Make sure that it's already a part of the plan, and that we're being flexible. And that's really important. That's obviously going to be something that we keep very in mind as we're moving forward.
Final question, and I'll let you go. We have been seeing reports lately, two things. One is the prioritization of teachers and education professionals for the vaccine. But I think the other disturbing thing we've been seeing is that the folks who are getting the vaccine, our first responders, the response rate isn't as great as we thought. It's under 50%. What is the district's stance on teachers being vaccinated? Is it going to be mandatory? Not? And briefly, what are you all doing in terms of that?
Yes. So right now, and actually today, our Madam School Member Benjas Mindigal is proffering an item regarding the superintendent advocating for teachers to be considered, at least in the second round, priority. And they have been partnering up with League of Cities, and throughout the entire state, League of Mayors. Everybody has written to the governor asking that teachers be prioritized, which is great. And it's important. And as we're bringing back more students to our classroom, because we're finding that a lot of them are really not acquiring the education that they merit right now, and we're bringing them back with parental consent, of course. Our classrooms are going to fill up, and it's going to become more and more dangerous at a situation. So we want our teachers to get vaccinated. However, right now it remains that it's a personal decision that teachers need to make with their household and with their families and their doctors, of course. They are, to us, the school board, considered essential. We are actively advocating for them, and we just want to make sure that there's enough and that we get it as soon as possible for those, and that the school board is helping to connect those teachers who do want it with the vaccines in a way that's smooth. Also, I know the district is already working on how we can convert our district test sites to district vaccination sites should we get the green light. And we just want to educate and train as many professionals so that we can expeditiously get this vaccine once we have the green light.
Perfect. School board member Baez Geller, thank you so much. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to be following up with the district, but I will be following up with you directly after the forum, I'm sure, and with your staff. And we appreciate every time that you've been able to come out and talk to us and give us information. You're always welcome at our meetings. And thank you. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
our
And same with
servant.
you all. You're always welcome. My door is always open. I don't know if there's a chat, but I'll just say it. My email is district3@dadeschools.net. Anyone can write to me at any time, and I look forward to the follow-up on the panel discussions. If you guys can fill me in, I would love to hear about those later. Sorry, I have to go.
Definitely.
Thank
And make sure you guys catch the school board meeting today, Channel 17, 11 o'clock. All right. Ernesto, are you there?
Yes, Sam, I'm here. How are
Okay.
you?
I'm doing good. Let me let you say hello. I'm sorry we were having some technical issues.
Hello.
Anything else?
Are you there?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, well, we are very thankful and grateful that that we are discussing all these major issues, because we don't do anything by building up beautiful buildings in our city. We don't do anything perfect by continue saying that we have the tallest buildings in South Florida if we don't concentrate in education. Any city with no education, with no vision to increase and improve the education of our children, is going nowhere. And I hope that that is not the issue here with the city of Miami. So it's good to see that we have no blood at the school board, but I think that we should not sidetrack the fact that this community have been impacted for decades of not having a high school in an area. Taxpayers in our area have been punished enormously. Parents have been forced at time and families to move away from the area because we have no schools, and it is very sad. Uh, as everybody's aware, we have been fighting and advocating for 34 years now. 34 years, not three, not two, I mean, not 25, 34 years to have a decent high school in the area. The district had neglected our needs in the area. It's a fact. I know that it sounds like a broken record, but in 1987, the voters of Dade County, we went to the polls and we were told that 49 new schools, state of the art, with new employees and top of teachers, were going to deploy to those 49 new schools. And within those projects, Southside Elementary was included. And in the renderings, they promised this community to have a build up to 12th grade high school. 34 years later, we are not getting that. I mean, we're very happy with the plans of the district to expand Southside Elementary to eighth grade, which is wonderful. I mean, any good news on education, we take it, but that's not enough. So that's why I would like to remind all the participants that that's why this organization, in 2010, we started supporting charter schools. And it seems that the only option that we have is to support that option. And that's the only option that we're going to eventually have a high school in the area through Academica. So are we happy with everything that had taken place? No. Do we take any points from, I mean, good news from the district on what we're getting? Yeah, we take anything, but it's not acceptable. So hopefully with new blood in the school board and new also commissioners, Dade County commissioners, and hopefully other elected officials that start paying more attention on what is going on in our community, okay, and start forgetting about what is happening specifically in Washington, D.C., and forgetting what is happening here in Dade County, then we can probably make a difference in this community. We have to, we are a community that we talk a lot, but we don't act accordingly. And I think that that's why the Urban Core Community Coalition is going to make a difference in this community, because it's going to enhance and it's going to improve that relationship. And we as social anchors, we have to motivate the social capital that we have in our children and in our community. And that's a goal that we have in mind.
I always say I can never say it better myself. Ernest, 34 years.
34 years.
And 34 years, and maybe next year we'll start to see a piece of that start to get. But as you said, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. I want to real quickly, because we're a little bit behind in the schedule, I want to real quickly move on to the address by our new commissioner, county commissioner, Commissioner Raquel Regalado. I'm not going to read Raquel's bio. You have it here. Please read through it. I think her talk is more important that you see all the way through. So without further ado, I introduce you to Commissioner Raquel Regalado, Miami-Dade County Board of County Commissioners, District 7.
Hi, how are you? My name is Raquel Regalado, and I'm your County Commissioner for District 7. Thank you for joining us. I'm actually pre-recording this because, as some of you know, I have a radio show from 9 to 12, but I am going to try my best to join you as soon as possible. That being said, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to email me at district7@miamidade.gov or at rregalado@miamidade.gov. So today I'm going to be talking to you about access and equity, and I couldn't be more excited about the topic. For those of you who remember when I was a school board member, this was a huge issue and continues to be one throughout our district. And one of the things that the pandemic has done is really highlight the issues that we have in terms of access and equity. So I'm very excited to share that at the January 20th board meeting, I'm actually bringing a board item that has to do with this topic. And it's actually in preparation for April, which some of you know is Autism Awareness Month. For those of you that don't know, I am the proud parent of 2 children in the spectrum. They are both teenagers. And we always try to do, really constructive things leading up to April, beyond sort of the trite, we support autistic children and their families. We really wanted to provide something with real substance. And I think this board item does just that. For those of you that remember the school board, one of the first things I did was I entered into a 5-year agreement with NSU Card. NSU Card is the state arm that's used to provide services and resources to neurodivergent people. So this includes our kids and friends on the spectrum, but it also includes other neurodivergent children. And the reality is that their numbers are growing more and more. While at the school board, I focused on programming and inclusion. This time around, as your Miami-Dade County Commissioner, I'm actually focusing on resources and programming and really having a comprehensive inclusion program across Miami-Dade County. And why is this important? Well, for the neurodivergent, it's all about routine and about familiarity and about us as caregivers and parents reducing anxiety. And one of the things that we know occurs sadly too often is that neurodivergent people and their families do not feel welcomed in public spaces. So this board item tries to change that, and I hope to have the support of my fellow commissioners. And I would love, if you feel strongly about this, for you to email them and ask them to support it too. So what's the idea? Well, the idea is that we would have social stories for social stories and signage, programming and training, right? Across several Miami-Dade County departments. And that this programming and training would help us not just to educate people as to neurodiversity, but also to help with interactions with neurodiverse people and their caregivers. So it starts at the library system. Miami-Dade County is blessed to have such a spectacular library system. In the past, they've actually done great programming for autism, but we're really stepping it up. This board item brings a partnership with NSU Card that's going to provide training for employees, and it's also going to provide resources that we're going to break up in different segments, resources for teachers, resources for parents, resources for neurodivergence. Our public library system has tremendous access to audiobooks and resources, and we're going to put them all in different categories so that you can access everything from a book on behavioral methods and anything from like ABA on to why I jump and what every autistic girl wishes her parents knew, and a lot of new literature that is actually written by people in the spectrum so that they can explain how they see the world. So I think it's a tremendous opportunity. We're really excited. We're also going to be working physically at the library sites. In some of them that are a little bit larger, we're going to be creating spaces for the neurodivergent, and in other ones, we're just going to create a little corner, a little space so they can decompress if they need it. And then this is all going to be paired up with signage that explains the library. A lot of parents of neurodivergent people, myself included, we get a little freaked out when we think of the library because it's a quiet space, and sadly our kids are not very quiet. So we're going to be working with the social stories that are going to be provided to the parents ahead of time. And that's going to have signage that comports with the social stories so that our kids can know what spaces are quiet, what spaces are not. I think it's really going to be phenomenal. I'm very excited about this on the library front. But this initiative doesn't just end with libraries. It actually goes on to transit. So the idea with transit is something similar to the All Aboard initiative that other areas have done. And this is, again, using social stories, training, and signage to welcome the neurodivergent to our Miami-Dade County transit system. This is a little different. We can't create spaces for the neurodivergent in our transit system, but the stories are going to provide them with an opportunity to have trainings, right? Where we go physically to whether it's a Metro Rail or the Metro Mover with caregivers, and we walk them through with our children so that they too can participate in transit. The training piece on this is going to be phenomenal. I think it's going to be very impactful. We've actually spoken to STS. They are a provider, and they're very happy about the training opportunity too with UMNSU card. So libraries, transit, we're not stopping there. Parks. One of the things that this pandemic has brought us is a tremendous understanding of how important our libraries and our parks are, our public spaces. And we're super excited about how this initiative is going to impact our parks. District 7 has amazing parks, and there's actually more coming online soon, and we're going to be talking about that. But same idea, we're going to have signage, we're going to have social stories, and we're going to have training for folks that interact with neurodivergent people at parks. So the parks piece is wonderful. A lot of our neurodivergent friends have been utilizing parks more than ever during the pandemic, and we want that to continue, and we want them to feel welcomed. And another thing that I want to mention, the signage and the social stories are really geared towards neurodivergence, but it really can be used by everyone and anyone. They're visual cues that could be understood by people who don't speak English. So this really has an impact just on several vulnerable populations, and it really will increase access and equity. And then finally, we couldn't do it without fire and police. They're also going to be part of this, where they obviously have training on the police side that comes from the state of Florida, but we're going to be doing some more training, and we're actually going to be dealing with IDs at a county level and a series of other initiatives of should your children interact with police officers or firefighters. This is going to be a great opportunity for educators in particular to educate neurodivergent people about emergencies. So this is going to have social stories. This is also going to have signage. And what's going to be great about this initiative is that the social stories and the signage are all going to work together. It's all going to be the same. What the signage that you see at a park is going to be the same as the signage you see at a Metro Rail station is going to be the same as the signage that you see at a fire station or a police station or at a library. So it really is going to provide consistency and predictability for the neurodivergent. And we're very excited about this initiative. So this is going to be on the agenda on January 20th, and we hope to get as much done as possible after we get the support of our fellow commissioners. so that we can roll out a large chunk of this for April for autism awareness. So we're also working on a few items where we're going to be partnering with the school system. Stay tuned for that. We're very excited about really providing a profound relationship with our district. We're going to be talking about programming specifically and some other ways that we can, connect the dots between what's happening at school and what's happening in our public spaces. This pandemic has really limited a lot of parents, and we have to have a serious conversation about access to technology and access to literature. And again, one of the reasons that we're going to be highlighting in the next few months our library system and everything that they have to offer. Even if you don't have a physical library near you, these really are amazing resources that we want to share with you and that you can share with others. So we're very excited about that. We're also going to be dealing with evictions and vaccines and lots of other issues at our January 20th meeting. But I wanted to talk to you specifically about this initiative since my topic was access and equity, and also tell you a little bit more about what we're going to be doing in terms of the environment. As you all know, we finally have a Chief Bay Officer. Congratulations to Irela Vargas. She's wonderful. She's a dear friend, and we're very excited about this. So I hope that the next time we talk to you all, we're going to be talking about septic sewer. We're going to be talking about the environment. We have so many issues, and now that we have a Chief Bay Officer, we're going to get to prioritizing those issues and really dealing on the legislative side with what we're going to do sort of beyond the reports. So I've already started to do some of that work with our cities. I've actually visited almost all of our cities. Actually, by the time you see this, I will have visited all of our cities in District 7 to talk about this issue. And we're providing them with the maps as to where the septic tanks are. And we're already talking about registration and what we can do to better inform residents about why this is so important and why we need their participation. And then at the Tallahassee level, the session starts in March, but committees are already underway. And Miami-Dade County has made septic to sewer one of its top priorities. So I hope at some other point we could talk about legislation, what's happening in Tallahassee and how it's going to impact the county. But I'll end with this. I hope to have your support on this board item. It really is a comprehensive item that talks about inclusion for all neurodivergent people across several departments. It really will be one of a kind, and we hope a model for other counties as we start talking more about adults in the spectrum, teenagers in the spectrum, and the need to provide them with independence. I'll end with this. For many years, we've been talking about children and early detection, and these resources will be provided in this rollout also. But the time really has come to talk to folks about how the neurodivergent live long lives, how they become teenagers and young adults, and the elderly, and we need to provide them with services, we need to provide them with access, and we need to provide them with as much independence as possible. Having access to public spaces is such a large part of that independence. Having access to transit is an enormous part of that independence. So if you haven't thought about how neurodivergent people grow up and how they can be a constructive and contributing part of our community, I hope that you'll consider it. We really are excited about this initiative. We are going to be working with our cities too, so that they can mimic some of the same signage. And we're also going to be providing these materials through UMNSU card, and some others to different counties so that they will consider the same. So I hope you can join us on January 20th at our county commission meeting. I'm available always if you need anything, if you want to talk about ed, always anything you want to talk about in terms of the county. And we hope to be with you soon. Thank you so much for participating in this forum. Bye.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Regalado. As you can see, a stalwart. She works 24/7 and is looking at ways to improve the core, and especially looking at making sure that all of our facilities are accessible to everyone. I want to move on to our golden anniversary host address. Miami-Dade College, as we talked about earlier today, and particularly the Wolfson, is celebrating its 50-year anniversary, and 50 years really of providing world-class education in Miami's urban core. And so what we wanted to do was to give you a vision today of some of those programs of excellence that are available to our residents and other stakeholders in the urban core. And we're very, very fortunate today to have some of the best education professionals, particularly K through 12, that Miami-Dade College has to offer, but that our community has to offer. So what I'll do is it's a small cavalcade, folks, and I'll introduce them one by one, and each of them will present to you their information. We'll start off with Dr. Jeffrey Hodgson. Dr. Jeffrey S. Hodgson is the Provost and Chief Executive Officer of New World School of the Arts. He previously served as the Dean of Music and was a piano professor at NWSA. New World School of the Arts is a center of artistic and academic excellence in college students interested in careers in dance, music, theater, and visual arts. Through its educational partnerships with Miami-Dade County Public Schools, Miami-Dade College, and the University of Florida, New World School of the Arts confers the high school diploma, Associates of Arts degree, and Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, and Bachelor of Music degrees in programs accredited by the National Associations of School, Dance, Music, Theater, and Art and Design. Dr. Hodgson earned a Doctorate of Musical Arts degree from the University of Miami in piano performance, studying with the famed American pianist Ivan Davis. In addition, he studied with Luis de Mora Castro and Boaz Sharon, in holding a Bachelor of Music degree from the Hart School, University of Hartford, and a Master of Music degree from the University of Florida. Without further ado, I introduce you to Dr. Jeffrey Hodgson.
So good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for the introduction. Samuel, I wanted to mention that actually Dr. Contessa Bryant and I are going to present together. Do you want to go ahead and make that introduction at this moment?
Yes, I would love to. Talking about another hometown girl, Dr. Contessa S. Bryant, a proud product of my 12 years of administrative experience. She was recently appointed principal at New World School of the Arts, downtown Miami's premier arts magnet high school. Prior to this appointment, Dr. Bryant served as principal at Homestead Middle School, a school that embraced her transformational leadership abilities and principles. Significant advances were made under her leadership. After years spent in the urban core, Dr. Bryant sees it as a dream fulfilled to now serve as the principal of the New World School of the Arts, her own high school located in the heart of downtown Miami.
Excellent, and good morning to everyone. I'm going to share my presentation, and Contessa and I are going to take turns going through and telling you the story of New World School of the Arts. New World School of the Arts was originally created by the Florida legislature as an institution of excellence in the performing and visual arts. And this gives you an idea of how this works. It's an 8-year institution, 4 years of high school and 4 years of college. We're located right here in the urban core in downtown Miami. High school students are able to receive the high school diploma, studying on the Miami-Dade College Wolfson campus and receiving college credit at the same time. And our college students are registered both through Miami-Dade College and through the University of Florida. And ultimately, New World College students earn a Bachelor of Music degree or a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree without ever going to Gainesville, right here in downtown Miami. So as you know, you've heard, I'm Dr. Jeffrey Hodgson, and I'm very pleased to welcome you and to have the opportunity to speak with you. Contessa, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Contessa Bryant. It is a privilege to be here with you this morning to share what is the greatest jewel here in Miami. I feel super blessed to be back at New World School of the Arts as principal, recently appointed in August. But my history with this school started in 1989 as a bright-eyed sophomore, attending what was this very new high school concept. And so I feel very blessed. I was actually selected to be the student, one of the heightened student of the year and Wall of Fame. And I remember saying it would be so cool if I ever get to come back as principal with my 18-year-old face on the wall. And now my not so young face serving as the principal. But we're super excited to share with you what is New World School of the Arts.
Thank you. And I came to New World School of the Arts in 1999 and never left. I started as a professor in piano and moved to be the Dean of Music and then to Provost. And you find that with so many of our faculty members, they're lifelong, have a lifelong commitment to the students of New World School of the Arts because of what it does for our students and our student population. So the high school opened in 1987 and the college came about right after that in 1988. And the school started out originally as an experiment before it opened between Miami-Dade College and Miami-Dade County Public Schools, where Northwestern School would bring students to the Miami-Dade College campus for arts classes in the afternoon. And what they found was that those students excelled more than ever before because they were inspired to do what it was that they loved to do. And that translated not only to success in the work in their arts areas. As we mentioned, New World School of the Arts focuses on dance, music, theater, and visual arts. But it also gave them an outstanding desire and the discipline and the way to move forward as great academicians. And that's something that we've seen as a hallmark of what the success of New World School of the Arts is all about.
So one of the reoccurring themes you'll hear from me anyway is dream. I say this is my dream job. This is the dream place to attend. And what started as a dream in 1987 has been realized today. You can see the pictures of who we are today, and you'll hear more about what those dreamers did years ago that has become so concrete and a force in arts and culture in not only Miami, but our artists leave us trained and go out into the world to spread the great news of arts and artistic expression. So here we are by the numbers. You'll see there are 923 students at New World. That's divided between both the college and the high school. Dr. Hodgson will spend more time with that. We're about 208 employees, 78, this is between both the college and high school, full-time employees, 130 part-time, which really does talk about the number of adjuncts that we have, working professionals in the areas of the arts that our students get to train with. One of the greatest things, a dream come true for a student to work with a practicing professional in the area where you want to excel.
It shows the great community that it takes to put together an institution like New World School of the Arts and to provide that education for our students and for our community. This slide shows you that there are 487 students in the high school, and the intersecting circles show you that they are also college students. They're all here on the college campus, but 340 of them are also receiving college credit. And then for our college students, there's a total of 436. Some are in the first 2 years registered through Miami-Dade College, and the last 2 years registered through UF, and those that are in the middle. That works because they're here in downtown Miami on the campus, and so they have the benefit of these three incredible institutions.
So I don't just say that that we're the best. There are a lot of people who echo the same thing. You can see here on this slide how New World is rated across not only the district and the state, but the nation. When you look at magnet schools, in Miami-Dade County, there are almost 400 schools, and we're ranked at 13. And that becomes super impressive when you consider that there are only 487 students in the school. And also when you consider that we accept students only on their potential and their arts. This is not a school that scans to look for the students who are going to Yale. It just so happens that our students are talented enough and smart enough. And the arts help to frame that for our student bodies, where they end up matriculating to some of the best colleges and conservatories across this nation. And so one of my favorite slides as principal is to share how great we are, not because we say so, but because everybody else does too. So here's some numbers from last year. We only had 112 seniors. And you can see there, all of them graduated, which is, of course, is the expectation. You can see the breakdown of students who attended college in-state and out-of-state, those who received Florida Bright Futures. And the most impressive number to me at the top of the page, you'll see $35 million worth of scholarship money amongst 112 students. That's easy math. To see when there are 112 students that get $35 million worth of scholarship money to not only state colleges and conservatories, but to everywhere around this nation. You'll see Posse Scholar winners and Silver Knight nominees. But this number should blow everyone on the calls line, your mind. That's more than $300,000 per student. Super impressive.
So we know that everything that Miami-Dade County Public Schools and Miami-Dade College is to help our community to be successful, to provide them the opportunity to achieve their dreams and careers, and to give them a path to upward mobility. That starts right with those high school students as they're graduating that are offered scholarship to all of those institutions, to places that maybe they wouldn't be able to afford. And it's all based upon their academic and artistic achievement. Terrell McCraney is a really wonderful example. And so we use, and we're gonna talk just now in this part of the presentation about some of our alumni to illustrate that point. But keep in mind, these are some of the top examples. But our alumni go through within all strata. A lot of them are here in our community. You see them in productions in theaters, in musical performances, and dance performances, and visual arts galleries. But Terrell McCraney, as you see here, won the Oscar for the screenplay for Moonlight. He currently is writing the show David Makes Man on the Oprah Network. And before all of this happened, he was a MacArthur Genius Fellow. That was an award of 5 years worth $650,000 for him to create his art. And that recognition is something you don't apply for. It's just achieved by the work that you do. Now, the best thing is that Terrell is still in our community. He comes from Liberty City. He, although he's working all over the country, spends most of his time here. And every time he's back here, he comes to New World School of the Arts and talks to our students, and we'll teach a master class and spend time. And he's a perfect example of the power of arts education and how that can transform someone's life.
And yet another alum, and this one's very special to me because Alex and I attended elementary school, middle school, and high school together. Alex is a multi-Tony award-winning conductor, composer. You're probably most familiar with his work as it relates to Hamilton. Everything that Lin-Manuel did blew up, and a lot of the music is because of the work of Alex Lacamore, who acted as the musical director for that production. And so not only that, he has work that In the Heights and Dear Evan Hansen, he's done Greatest Showman, just a wonderful conductor, orchestrator, composer, And he does all of this with a hearing loss. He went to Berklee College of Music on full music scholarship in 1992 and finished in under 3 years with a 3.97 GPA. A wonderfully talented individual. We knew when we were plucked out of our elementary school and taken to Southwood as an opportunity to continue to explore our art, that Alex would go on to be one of the great ones. And he has never disappointed. Again, he remains very connected with the community, although he lives in New York. He recently held a symposium for all of our current students, college and high school, to share his experiences. When he's in town, he does come by and talk, and I feel privileged to call him my friend, not just because he is a great and outstanding artist, but he is an outstanding human being. And while Broadway is shut down, and some of the things that he's doing is to bring equity to Broadway, and reaching into churches and non-traditional places to find talented musicians and offer them apprenticeships in Broadway to open the doors for other minorities. So we are extremely proud of the work of Alex Lacamore.
You know, we wanted to just focus a little bit on Broadway because it gives you that picture of what we do. And this is just a small example. I remember a few years ago, I think we had 7 different alumni on Broadway. So what we want you to do is to come and see us, see our performances, see the students performing now, because they are the stars of tomorrow. And they're right here in our community. And they make us so proud because they're just homegrown. A perfect example is Fergie Philippe, pictured up in the left-hand corner. Fergie has been on Broadway in Hamilton. And since Broadway's closed right now, he is actually a member of our faculty. And this semester, he is in class teaching our students and bringing that professional experience. That's the goal of New World School of the Arts, is to connect students with professionals in the field, because that is the pathway to excel in your art, is to see someone that has gone before you, all that they've gone through, all of those experiences, that leads you there, and that's a pathway for our students. So we want you to keep in mind and remember that the arts are a critical part of the workforce in Miami-Dade County and in the Miami Urban Core. New World School of the Arts is creating that workforce and providing opportunity that's equitable. It's based, as Dr. Bryant said, solely on audition, solely on talent. And that is a pathway to success for our students. Dr. Bryant, anything to close out our presentation?
Well, Walt Disney said this: you can design and create and build the most wonderful place in the world, but it takes people to make it a reality. And what we have are a network of people around this world in the arts who've made this place as wonderful as it was built and created to be. It is really a dream, and we are blessed that it is here in our community, accessible to our students, providing opportunities that we did not know in all ways that were available to us, but providing great opportunities to move from here into the artistic stratosphere. So we are very proud of what's happening in the world. And we'll continue this work as some of those people who get to contribute to what was built and created back in 1987.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Hodgson and Dr. Bryant. Wonderful, wonderful program. Quick note, I am a graduate of South Miami Senior High School's magnet program. Actually founded it and graduated from there, and have been in the museum field for over 20 years and had a great opportunity to work with the New World School of the Arts in our museums. And I always say this: the arts can teach you anything you need to learn in the world. That's why those artists, $300,000 a piece. My God, why didn't I go to the New World? He'd be there. But no, they can be whatever they want to be, because they end up being very brilliant people because they learn in a creative way. So thank you for what you do. And I look forward to maybe getting my daughter over there soon. All right, let's continue. Next on the list is Dr. Omar Monteguito, and I hope I said that right. Dr. Monteguito is the principal of the School for Advanced Studies, nationally recognized collegiate high school of excellence. Dr. Monteguito has advanced degrees in political science and law from Florida International University and the University of Florida. He's adjunct professor in the graduate program within the College of Arts, Science, and Education at Florida International University, a consultant and presenter for the College Board, chair of the Schools of Law Program Committee of the Dade Bar Association, and a member of the Florida Bar, Dade Association, FBI Citizens Academy, Alumni Association, and a past fellow of the Florida Supreme Court Justice Teaching Institute. And on a personal note, Dr. Monteguito knows, I know one of your staff, Dennis Lindsay, who's a wonderful, wonderful chair of the Coral Gables Chambers Business and Education Committee, and we do a lot of work together. Chance to honor one of your teachers last year. So without further ado, Dr. Monteguito.
Thank you very much. Let me just go ahead and move this around so I can get started. Thank you. It's a pleasure being able to participate this morning in this important forum and to be able to share one of the crown jewels that we have in our community, and that is School for Advanced Studies. School for Advanced Studies was initiated in 1988 as a joint partnership between Miami-Dade County Public Schools and Miami-Dade College. We first started with one campus, and we have expanded to now include 5 campuses, of which one, the Wolfson campus, is located within the urban core. As I pointed out, School for Advanced Studies is a nationally recognized high school of excellence. Last year, we were ranked by U.S. News and World Report as the #4 high school in the entire nation. We've also been recognized as a top 500 STEM high school by Newsweek. We are the only public high school in Dade County and one of only 3 in the state of Florida that are part of the top 500 STEM high schools by Newsweek. We've also been recognized by Niche. We've also received the College Award, Success Award by Great Schools, and we've also been recognized by the Washington Post. We are a collegiate high school focusing on providing our students with a rich liberal arts education. Our overall enrollment, as you're able to see, is 768, encompassing all 5 campuses of School for Advanced Studies. Our school is really tailored for students that are academically talented and are seeking enrichment. Our curriculum is made up primarily of college and honors advanced placement course. We are the only school that requires all students to complete an AP curriculum track that includes all students taking advanced placement calculus AB as part of our completion requirement. Our curriculum includes pre-calculus, research, executive internship, constitutional law. Those are our honors track. And then all students are involved in taking the following courses, which includes AP Lit, AP Lang, AP Art History, AP Calculus AB and BC, AP US History, AP American Government, AP Macroeconomics, AP Physics, and AP Spanish Language. In addition to our high school curriculum, our students also have the opportunity to select from over 300 courses of studies through Miami-Dade College, with concentrations in the arts, humanities, communication and design, business, education, health sciences, public safety, STEM, social and behavioral sciences, and human services. An interesting fact of School for Advanced Studies is that 65% of our students are female, and over 65% of our students are in a STEM track: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The question is, why School for Advanced Studies? First and foremost, we are an A-rated school. As I pointed out, we've been nationally recognized by several entities. We take great pride in the fact that 99% of the students who attend School for Advanced Studies are awarded an Associate's in Arts degree concurrently with their high school diploma. So when these students transfer to other institutions within the state of Florida or other institutions by which Miami-Dade College has an articulation agreement, those students are able to transfer in and are designated as juniors first time in college once they start college the fall after graduation. 47% of our students last year were admitted to a top 50 college or university in the nation. Our students are well represented at all the Ivy League institutions in this country. Last year, we had $62.5 million awarded in academic scholarships. We are very proud of the fact that we have the highest ACT and SAT average of all Miami-Dade County schools, including charter. Last year, we had a total of 2,800 AP examinations that were administered. And once again, we had the highest percent of students earning a 3, 4, or 5. School for Advanced Studies has also been designated as a Florida Department of Education Schools of Excellence. And one of the things that we try to convey and instill in our students is the importance of not only focusing on their academic skill sets and building their social and emotional IQ, but more importantly, their responsibility to be able to assist those in the community. So we're very proud of having a very dynamic, vibrant civil rights program. We've now, for the last 3 years, we've had the most awardees in Miami-Dade County for the Miami Herald Civil Rights, both individuals that have won in different categories and also honorable mention. Last year, we had 6 Posse Award recipients. We had 2 Jack Ken Cook finalists. We had 1 Miami Herald Civil Rights winner and 5 honorable mentions. 65% of our scholars are designated by the College Board as AP scholars based on multiple examinations which they take, in which they earn 3, 4, and 5s on the AP exam, which translates into college credits. Last year, we had 23 Questbridge finalists. These are designations that go to students that are low income. And we also had 1 Gates Millennium Scholar last year. Last year, we also had 31 National Hispanic Scholar finalists, 3 National Merit finalists, and 21 National Merit Commended Scholars. These are some of the universities that our students were admitted to last year. As you're able to see, it touches upon the entire spectrum, from Ivy Leagues to strong STEM schools like Caltech and MIT. Also, you will notice that our students do not only stay in the state of Florida, but they also decide to matriculate upon graduation from SAS into various universities throughout the entire United States. They're well represented at all the universities, both within the United States and also within the state of Florida. We are very proud. Probably some of you have heard regarding the first Latino DACA recipient to be awarded a Rhodes Scholarship. That individual, Santiago Potes, is a graduate not only of School for Advanced Studies, but also a graduate from our Wolfson campus. Santiago graduated from SAS 3 years ago, just graduated from Columbia University, will be heading next year to Oxford University as part of the Rhodes Scholarship, and was recently notified that he has been accepted to Yale Law School. He will be taking a gap year so that he can finish his master's at Oxford, and then he will be starting law school at Yale Law School. Thank you very much for being able to listen to the presentation today. When you mentioned the fact about the importance of having presence within the urban core, you've had an opportunity to listen from 2 administrators. You have 2 in key high schools that are located in the urban core, one that focuses on academics and another one that is well known for being a music and artistic conservatory. So we're very proud of the choices that are available to students. And School for Advanced Studies looks forward to working with your organization to be able to get the information out and to ensure that we have more individuals from the downtown, the Brickell area, partaking and taking advantage of the programs that School for Advanced Studies has to offer. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Dr. Monteguito. And I couldn't have said it more succinctly. This really is an opportunity, Urban Core residents and stakeholders, for you to see the best of the best, and it's in your backyard and for our use. Real quick, because we're running behind, I want to introduce Dr. Eric Hoffman, who is the Dean of the Honors College at Miami-Dade College, previously served as the founding director of Flagler's College Honors College program. He has held faculty and administrative appointments at Lynn University, Barry University, and Washington State University. He earned his PhD in mass communication, graduate cognate in educational leadership, MS in marketing and communications, and BS in business communications from Florida State University. Dr. Hoffman has been recognized for his teaching, service, and scholarship with 2 Professor of the Year awards and a national award from the American Cancer Society for his work in the field of tobacco prevention and cessation. Dr. Hoffman? Did we lose Dr. Hoffman? Maybe he might have had to drop out because we are running a little behind. I'm going to move along because, again, we have our special...
I'm sorry, I was muted. I apologize.
Oh, there you are, Dr. Hoffman. Go for it. Go for it. Sorry.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for allowing me to present on behalf of the Honors College, an important piece of the Miami Urban Core. The Honors College provides local high school students, many from disadvantaged backgrounds and underrepresented groups, an opportunity to achieve their dreams. The Honors College provides the access, education, support, and opportunities that enrich the urban core and those that live in and around it. Next slide, please. Sorry. The Honors College provides previous slide. The Honors College provides intellectual and cultural enrichment for highly motivated and academically gifted students in a rigorous and challenging environment that is accessible and affordable in a partnership with a dynamic multicultural community. The Honors College began in 2002 at the Wolfson campus. In 2003, the North Campus and Kendall campus were added, and in 2006, the dual language program was added at our Padrone campus. 300 students are admitted annually from over 1,300 total applications for 75 on each campus. Students receive the Honors College Fellow Awards, which covers in-state tuition and fees and provides a $500 book fund and a $600 stipend for the fall and spring terms. Next slide, please. The Honors College is located on 4 of Miami-Dade College's 8 campuses: the Kendall campus, the North campus, the Padrone campus, and Wolfson campus. Students complete the first 2 years of a 4-year education by earning their AA degree. Unique in nature is our Padrone dual language program, designed for students proficient in both English and Spanish who want to use their bilingual skills academically and professionally. The Honors College uses an enriched learning community model that allows for student engagement and collaboration. Students take classes together and build a strong community of support on each campus. They also come together for larger events and activities sponsored by the Honors College where all campuses participate. Next slide, please. The Honors College has many enriching activities and experiences that extend beyond the classroom. These include global citizenship. Students participate in the Global Citizenship Alliance in Salzburg, Austria, and are encouraged to participate in study abroad programs during the summer term. Service learning. Students are required to complete a minimum of 10 service learning hours every semester, but many complete over 100 per semester and are involved in many civic engagement opportunities. This past year alone, honors students completed over 23,000 academic service learning hours and over 15,000 individual hours, for a total of over 39,000 hours of service. Students also have the opportunity to apply for internships and research in and out of state. Students take on leadership roles in campus and community organizations, including Phi Theta Kappa, Phi Beta Lambda, STEMSA, Literary Magazine, Campus Newspaper, Student Government Association, and local not-for-profit organizations. Next slide, please. The Honors College has over 4,000 alumni that live and work across the world, including some notable alums that I will talk a little bit more about later. We focus on students transferring as juniors to their best matched institution. To date, the Honors College has had 34 Jack Kent Cooke Scholars, which is the most of any institution in the nation. Jack Kent Cooke is a prestigious transfer scholarship that includes significant funds and resources. The class of 2020 reported 917 acceptances to transfer institutions with over $14 million in scholarships that were offered. 301 of those acceptances are at institutions ranked by the U.S. News and World Report as top 50 national universities. Next slide, please. An example of how the Honors College enriches lives includes Dr. Jiddu Frank, class of 2007. Dr. Frank is of Haitian descent and was born and raised in Miami. He discovered his passion for medicine at an early age while attending the medical magnet program at Miami Northwestern Senior High School. Following high school, Dr. Frank was admitted to the Honors College at the Wolfson campus. He later transferred to Emory University, where he obtained a bachelor's in science and biology. He went on to graduate from Florida State University's College of Medicine, and after completing a residency at the University of Maryland, Dr. Frank was accepted into the University of Miami Sports Medicine Fellowship, where he served as the head physician for UM's athletic program in the Miami Marlins. Dr. Frank is now the sports medicine director at Memorial Hermann Health System in Houston, Texas. Next slide, please. Another example is Fedeline Camille. She was severely injured during Haiti's earthquake, and she and her mother were evacuated to the United States. It was a major adjustment. She had to build life from scratch again in the United States. She graduated from the Doctor's Charter School with a 4.41 GPA. She graduated from the Honors College with a 3.82 and received the Jack Kent Cooke Scholarship. She was then accepted to the University of Miami, University of Michigan, University of Wisconsin, and UNC Chapel Hill. She decided to attend the University of Miami, where she's studying a degree in science. Next slide, please. Another example is Maria Farah. She was born in Brazil and migrated to the United States. She graduated from Ronald Reagan High School at 3.64 GPA. She entered the Honors College, where she graduated with a 4.0 GPA in economics. She was accepted to, among many other schools, Boston University, American University, Columbia University, Duke, Georgetown, New York University, Swarthmore, University of Southern California. She transferred to Columbia University with $77,000 in scholarships. Next slide, please. And finally, we have Rothschild Toussaint. He just graduated this past year. He graduated with a 3.87 GPA from the Honors College. He was accepted to Claremont McKenna, Dartmouth, Johns Hopkins, Swarthmore, University of Southern California. And after submitting over 45 pages of documents, including petition letters, letters of support from local community, they increased his scholarship to almost $70,000 at Dartmouth, which allowed him to transfer there. And let me conclude, the last slide, please. Next slide. Is along with enriching the urban core by providing local high school students an opportunity to achieve their dreams, many of our alums return to the local area, including the urban core, to live, work, engage, and prosper after they graduate with a bachelor's degree or an advanced degree. 4 examples of these include Maria Sevilla. She graduated from the Honors College here at Wolfson campus. She went to Georgetown Law. Now she's Deputy Title IX Coordinator at the University of Miami, and she also sits on the Honors College Alumni Advisory Committee. Luisa Santos, she graduated from the Honors College. She went to Georgetown University. Now she is a Miami-Dade School Board member for District 9. Anna Marie Terefa, she graduated from the Honors College, got her PhD from FIU, and now she's a faculty member at FIU. And finally, Alex de Armas. She went to the Honors College, went on to the University of Florida. She is now the morning news anchor at WSVN Channel 7. The Honors College has and will continue to provide those in and around the urban core with educational opportunities that change lives and enrich the community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hoffman. Very, very quickly, because we are behind, I want to introduce the mayor of the city of Miami, Francis S. Suarez. Mayor Suarez has been a longtime advocate for his birthplace and home city, the city of Miami. And recently, he's been on making extreme and great efforts at trying to recruit high-tech companies, tech firms to come to Miami, the city of Miami, and consider us hopefully becoming the new Silicon Valley. I'd say it's been a tremendous effort and also pretty darn successful. If you follow him on Twitter, you'll know that Francis Suarez is now as synonymous a name as Elon Musk. So we wanted to have him here today to talk to us a little bit about building up the infrastructure that we need in the Magic City to really become the new Silicon Valley and really influence all those other tech leaders around the world to see us as their place of the future. I'm sorry, Mayor, that we're running a little bit behind. I appreciate you staying with us. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Sam. First of all, the first thing I want to do is I really want to thank you, and I want to thank Ernesto and your entire team. You guys are the organization, and I don't want to throw anybody under the bus or be critical of anybody else, but you are the organization that has been the most proactive and the most involved in really trying to solve and highlight educational issues in our community, in our city. And so I am eternally grateful to you all, because this is an issue and a subject that you guys have been talking about for a long time. And usually what happens with organizations is, subjects come and go. You guys have stuck with it and you're sticking with it. And so I'm so proud of the fact that, first of all, you would honor me by inviting me to participate in this. But I just want to highlight and thank you as a resident of the city, and not only the mayor, but as a resident and as a father of 2 children. Just so grateful for the fact that you guys continue to highlight and accentuate this issue. So let me just say a few things. The first thing is the presentations that you've heard here today highlight 2 things for me. The first is that we have right now magnificent educational institutions. I mean, the presentations that you heard were incredible. And I want you to know that, as Sam, I'm going to ask you, and with Ernesto's permission, to help me reproduce that and recreate it again, and maybe amplify it in a long form, because one of the major questions that I get from tech entrepreneurs and from people who are in this, not just tech, but hedge fund, private equity movement, is what is the educational system like in the city? So the first thing is, I think we have a great educational system. The second part is, for whatever reason, other than you guys, we're not telling our story well. Okay, we're just not doing that well. It is what it is. And I'll give you an example. First of all, the presentation that you just made of these 3 organizations was just so comprehensive, was so deep, was so impressive. That story is not getting out there as much as it should. I can tell you that the first thing I did right after my tweet of how can I help that went viral, and the 28 million impressions of the tweets that I made in December, was I created a Miami tech working group. And part of it was mostly college, and Miami-Dade College was there with our new president, college institutions. But we really need to drill deeper than that. We need to go to elementary, we need to go to preschool and early childhood education. And I'll tell you that one of the first things I learned from ironically from FIU, from Saif Ishuf, was that we graduate more Hispanic and Black engineers than any other in the country. Let me repeat that. We graduate more Black and Hispanic engineers than any other area in the country. And when I tell that to entrepreneurs, they're blown away, because there is a misperception, and I think it's a misperception, that Miami is not developing talent. What is the reality, and I know this as a Miami-born resident, is when I was 20 years old, oftentimes you had to leave this city to get the kind of jobs that would allow you to create wealth and that would allow you to provide for your family. And that's the thing that we need to reverse. That is a trend that we need to change. We need to go from a brain drain to a brain gain. And we need to stop being an intellectual talent importer. And you see so many examples of it in the presentations that were shown. So first thing, I'm going to ask you for help, Sam and Ernesto, with your indulgence and privilege. I want to reproduce this I want to give it my platform, which, as you said, Sam, has gone from 32,000 Twitter followers to 52,000. We got 28 million impressions in the month of December. That means 28 million people saw my tweets. It's almost 1/10 of the entire population of the United States. Last night I was on Fox News. Sunday I was on MSNBC. So we're getting interest from a bunch of national television shows to tell our Miami story. So that's number one. Number two, as you and Ernesto have properly and correctly identified, we have gaps. We need more capacity. We need more capacity, particularly in our urban core, which is going to grow exponentially over the next few years. So if you think we have capacity issues now, the capacity issues are going to get worse and worse and worse. Ernesto, who's shaking his head, knows this because Ernesto is in real estate, as am I. And we both know, my first year as mayor, we grew 8.5%. My second year as mayor, we grew 10.5%. And in COVID, we grew 6.5%. I can tell you that with the amount of momentum that is coming right now to the city, the growth is going to continue to be exponential. And we need to prepare our educational system to deal with that growth. Otherwise, we're going to have major issues. So I think I just can't emphasize enough how thankful I am for Ernesto and Sam doing this, because they're the only ones sounding the alarm at the level that they're sounding it and as consistently as they've been doing it. And I'd say the last thing is we need to look at what we're teaching our children, right, in the curriculum. And I think, one of the first things I did as soon as this sort of effort began, this accelerated moment in tech, was I Googled right away coding programs for children, and I downloaded them on all my devices. And I told my son, who's 6 years old, from now on, this is what you're going to play, right? You're going to learn how to code. And I think we have to understand that the world is changing, and the world is changing rapidly and dynamically every single day. And we see disruption happening continually. And if we want to do a service to our children and be ready for that future, we need to give them the tools, whether they're digital tools, whether they're broadband tools, or whether they're educational tools, to succeed and to thrive in that economy. So I stand as a willing partner. I will shout it from the rooftops. I will do whatever I can do as a city to make sure that educational facilities are treated with the utmost legislative respect, and that we try to push them through our processes. I know we have been working with Matter Academy for a while to get their school going, and I hope that gets started as quickly as possible, because they've done a phenomenal job. They were just showcased on CNBC last night with Marcus Lemoyne in their SLAM Academy that has 3,000 children in the inner city with incredible graduation rates. So we're very proud of them. And I stand ready, willing, and able. And I do want to reproduce this and maybe even make it a little more comprehensive and invite a little bit more schools to the table, because again, I don't think we're telling our story well enough. And again, I commend the Brickell Homeowners Association, and particularly Sam and Ernesto, for never losing sight of this critical issue. This is one of the most important issues. If we really care about inclusivity, if we really care about equity, if we really care about every child in Miami, creating a Miami for everyone, we call it Miami for everyone, we need to invest and focus on our educational system before anything else.
Mr. Mayor, always, you are right on point and fantastic. I do have a couple of quick.
I lost you there, Sam. I don't know if it was me or you.
Can you hear me now,
Yeah,
Mr. Mayor?
I hear you now.
Okay. No, thank you, and we'll follow up with you. We would love to recreate it. There's a lot more out there, a lot more. Two quick questions. There is, you mentioned and STEM has been mentioned here a lot. With the funding issues in our school system, funding for STEM and robotics programs and other things is competing with non-sports, sports and other things. What could you, as the city, as a municipality, do to help our school partners to get the resources they need to put in the adequate STEM robotic programs that will support what you want to do?
Well, there's two things. One, we already, we obviously don't control. Unfortunately, I'm not like the mayor of New York. I don't have control over the school system. I think we have a great school board and a great superintendent. But we partner with them strategically on things. For example, we have what we call the kindergarten savings accounts program. where we actually fund every single kindergartner in the city of Miami gets a $50 or $100 savings account set up for them, depending on whether they're on free and reduced lunch or not, because all the metrics show that children who learn financial discipline, by the way, we also bring the parents into it as well. So the parents get financial counseling. Children that learn financial discipline at a young age are more likely to be successful later on in life. So we do partnerships like that. But I think we need to, and I hate to get, I don't want to make this political, because you guys know me, I never make it political about, a blue team versus red team. But I do think we need to look at, from the state, our state formula, and we need to look at, we in the state of Florida, we should be #1 in the nation in per capita funding for students, whether they're in public schools or whether they're in charter schools. And we're not there. And we need to get there, because if we want to be competitive going forward, we need to give kids and schools the resources they need. I commend the school board for the teacher pay increase, because I think that was critical. In every industry and every job, the better you pay people, the better talent you're going to get, and the more you're going to be able to retain the talent you have. I mean, that's just economics 101. So I think and my mom was a teacher, so I'm biased. You know what I mean? She just retired. But I think that's important. And so I'm going to go up to the legislature, this legislative session, and I'm going to impress upon them the need for us. And by the way, I'll tell you this, I'm not a tax guy. I've never been a tax guy. Okay. I've always voted in favor against raising taxes. And I don't think you need to raise taxes in our community, in our city. The one thing I did support was a school bond, because our residents supported it. Right. And I'll tell you, every time the residents have had an opportunity to opine on whether or not they want to tax themselves on education, they have voted in favor of it, because our residents know how critical it is for their children to invest in that very, very important asset.
Last question. Look, the other issue we know in the city with urban core and schools is land is not cheap. And it's really trying to get developers incentivized to really look at, like the Zizkoviches of the world, including schools in their model. What can you and the city do to promote that better, so that you really are getting the best facilities for the core?
Well, listen, I'm gonna hype up Bernard, and I know he is not paying me to say this. Bernard is brilliant. He's a brilliant urban planner. He's someone that I've worked with on a number of different items. He was the key architect on Midtown, which is just an incredible neighborhood that he helped create. And I think we need to come up with, and I love to work with you guys, with your organization, on coming up potentially with an incentive program, where if a developer, because by the way, I did this already in Corway, I created an incentive program for developers to get more zoning rights if they build, in that case, it was a public facility, but we got it built, and it's already built, by the way, it's already CO'd, was a fire station. So they built a fire station inside a building envelope, and it worked out great. We got it basically for free, and they got the zoning rights that they wanted to make more money, right? Because it's a give and take. So I am wide open, and I love to work with BHA and Bernard on a potential legislative package, where if you build a school, you either get, a huge discount on impact fees, or maybe you get more zoning as of right, or something like that offsets the cost, so we can get that density going a lot faster and incentivize developers. I've always liked to do things on an incentive basis, on a carrot basis instead of a stick. And I think that's the, public-private partnerships like that work much better.
Mr. Mayor, again, always a pleasure. You're always fabulous. Call us. We're there. We will help you set it up. I think you're right. Getting that Miami story out there, and letting folks know that there is excellence in the core, and that we're building more will bring us that new Silicon Valley.
Thank you, bro.
Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for your participation. Also, I would like to bring to the table again, we would love to have an educational committee within the city of Miami.
Thank you.
I think that will be a key to promote what we're trying to do and what you are trying to do.
Completely agree, Ernesto. I think we had one, and I don't think it's been functioning. I don't think it's been, I don't even know if it has a quorum. It may have even been eliminated. So if it was eliminated, I'd be happy to look at reinstating it.
Yeah, it was folded into an omnibus committee because, as you said, the participation issue. But Mayor, as you know, if you want to move these initiatives along and you want to get resident support, those committees are key because they will push those politicians to do what they need to. Thank you so much for your time. The mayor is always open to you all. You can text him. If you got questions, go on to Twitter. And like I said, you can't miss them. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
You too. All right. Now, the last thing we got to do today, and to me, the biggest and most exciting piece is our panel discussion. I want to talk over our urban core education issues town hall. And in order to do that, I really went out and recruited the best of the best from all stratas of life in the urban core and folks who are really living the experience to talk to us about what the issues are. And then, as we've always done, come up with solutions and strategies and ideas that we can share with folks to change those issues. Before I start, let me just say real quickly, we didn't get to do a Q&A with the folks from Miami-Dade College because we were running a little bit late. Their email addresses are now in the chat. Please feel free to email any one of those presenters and they will get you the information you need on how you can get your child into these unbelievable programs. These are internationally and nationally reputable programs that most around the country would die to get into. So it's in our backyard. Let's use it. So what I want to do in order to introduce folks is I don't want to read everybody's bio because we've got a lot of people here and you guys can read on your own. What I'd like to do is a little introduction activity with my panelists. And what we're going to do is a 1-minute introduction. What I want to hear from you is who you are, who you're with, and then tell us the top 2 education issues you think are facing the urban core right now. Don't tell me how you're going to fix it yet. So it's who you are, who you're with, and the top 2 education issues you think are facing the urban core. And let's start out with somebody that's right on the ground, who's been living this personally with her family for over 5 years now, Miss Lala Pizarro, who's here from the Brickell for Schools Advocacy Group. Lala, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I had a little bit of trouble.
It's okay. I will be timing, by the way, 1 minute max.
Okay.
Go for it.
So, I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question? I'm so sorry.
Name, who you're with, and the top 2 education issues you think are facing the urban core.
Okay. I think we do have great education in the urban core. I just don't think we have enough. There's too many people. We are overpopulated and not enough schools. And the second issue I think we have is crowdness in the existing schools.
Excellent. And I mentioned that you were with Brickell for Schools Advocacy Group. Lala is one of the first parents I met with in 2014 when I joined BHA to take over the Education Advocacy Initiative. And I'll never forget, we met down in Brickell, and we both left that meeting saying that day, you probably will never get to see the benefits of whatever we end up doing, whether it's putting together the coalition or now 2 new schools that'll be here in the next 2 years. But she fought every single day, even when her kids weren't at the school, to get those services and to get that infrastructure there. So Lala, I thank you. Thank you for your commitment.
Thank you.
Let's go with another mom and another member of the Brickell for Advocacy Group, Miss Christina Alessi.
Well, I'd like to just start off. It's been an honor and privilege to sit on this panel along with all of these accomplished and esteemed people that really built and created and are flourishing our Magic City. So thank all of you that are here today. And thank you, Mr. Ernesto, Mr. Ernesto and Mr. Joseph for putting this together. Again, I'm Christina and for the Brickell advocacy. And my two big issues, I'm going to echo Lala, capacity and modeling the schools such as SAS and New World School of Arts. I think we need to take that formula and multiply it amongst our elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools in every corner of this county, so we can build and create a better Miami story. And my second issue is investments from the private sector of our city, everyone who is profiting, developers, if Silicon Valley comes, they really need to invest in our education. And I think as a parent and as a community activist, and all our community leaders must encourage and actually demand that they invest in education if they're going to profit here in our city.
Love it. Thank you. Next, let's have Miss Joy Prevor from the Downtown Neighborhood Alliance.
Thanks, Sam. So I'm Joy Prevor. I'm the education chair for the Downtown Neighbors Alliance. And I come to this issue specifically representing the residents of the Central Business District and Park West, where we have absolutely no school to attend. Despite the fact that we share a school board district with you guys in Brickell, part of our district is District 3, part of our footprint is District 2. We are not entitled to go to Southside as Brickell residents are. We have iPrep in our neighborhood. We are not entitled to go to iPrep. We can only win a lottery to get seats there. So primary issue is we don't have a school, period, end, stop. So issue number one. Issue number two is the capacity at the schools that are available countywide is so limited that the opportunity for us to win a seat at these lotteries for the magnet schools is not sufficient. So we need to both solve the immediate issue of allowing seats for our residents at these schools, but we also need to think longer term in terms of actually having new schools that we can participate in.
Thank you so much, Joy. Next, we'll do Abby Ape from Brickell Homeowners Association.
Good morning, everyone. As Sam said, my name is Abby Ape, and I'm one of the advocates with the Brickell Homeowners Association for the past 2 years. However, I've been living in the urban core for the past 10 years. And a big concern of mine when deciding if my 8-year-old was going to go to a physical school or be a stay-at-home child, a virtual learning child, I looked at the class size that was available at Southside Elementary, and I didn't think that was going to be suitable for our family. So the class size, as many of you guys have said, is a big problem, which is due to overpopulation and the lack of schools in our community. So those are the two issues that I've seen.
Excellent. Next, let's go to Commissioner Eileen Higgins, representing District 5.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for organizing this discussion, which is near and dear to my heart. I'm your county commissioner for a large chunk of downtown and a lot of Brickell. I have been working on this issue of the lack of schools since before I was even elected, when I was a member of the Downtown Neighbors Alliance Executive Board. I think I can't even add to what everybody else has said. The educational needs in the urban core are just obvious. We don't have enough schools, and we don't have enough seats in the schools that do happen to be here. And that has to be addressed. We talk a lot about transit-oriented development, and I am trying to re-coin the phrase transit-oriented neighborhoods, right? Because if you can't live there, work there, go to the grocery store there, go to the pharmacy there, have a restaurant there, and walk your kids to school, or as they get older, put them on the Metro Mover to go to high school, you have transit-oriented development. You don't have a transit-oriented neighborhood. And the minute parents don't find seats for their kids here, guess what happens to them? They leave the urban core, they move to the burbs, they buy 2 cars, and they create traffic. And so in order to fully achieve our dream of transit-oriented neighborhoods, we have to work on schools. And as you all know, I've worked pretty hard on a couple projects that we'll talk about later.
Thank you, Commissioner. Let's next go to Miss Elena Bondarenko with the Miami Downtown Development Authority, and also wore a double hat as a mom who has a child at school in the urban core.
Hi, everyone. Elena Bondarenko. I am with the Downtown Development Authority. I'm also a land use and zoning attorney and a mom and a Brickell resident, and definitely been in this issue for a very, very long time. The most important issue for me, and I don't know if it's 1 or 2, you could count it either way, is definitely concurrency and impact fees. Our system, our state law was designed in order to accommodate for new development, and the resulting schools and facilities, there are concurrency calculations that relate to not just schools, roads, everything. So it was supposed to be accounted for. And every time there's a new development, the law says that new student stations have to be created. Our district collects enormous amount of fees. And unfortunately, the process itself it definitely needs to be improved. So those fees actually end up creating those new stations, and whatever developments approved, there is accountability for follow-up and making sure that there are places for those children that move to the area can go to. So that's basically.
No, that's a good one. And that's an inside baseball, but what we're listening to, I think, across all of the presentations is that education is not an issue that's a silo. If we don't address the education issue, it affects everything else: climate change, transportation, you name it. So by addressing this issue, we can solve other problems. Next, let's go to Mr. Bernard Zizkovich. Bernard, you there? There you go.
I'm here. Excuse me. Thank you. I don't want to address the issues already addressed by the parents who know best. Let me speak about it before my partner Jose does, from the point of view of urban design. I think Commissioner Higgins hit the nail on the head. One of the biggest issues of getting a school approved is complying with the county and the city requirements for all the traffic mitigation. So I think that if we're going to be dealing with transit-oriented neighborhood, I love the concept. It's much better than development because it really talks about the intention. I think we need to start to think about some kind of student pickup or organization that can start to bring people from the different downtown neighborhoods to a collector location where the new school occurs, and stop relying on the approvals being able to manage the traffic. The traffic is unmanageable. And for us to be tying the development of education to the ability to provide the traffic and the parking is a self-defeating effort, I believe. The second thing that I would speak about, which maybe gets more into the issue of social equity and social justice, is that I think that notwithstanding my love for all the people in the downtown core, there seems to be a kind of balkanization related to Brickell, downtown, Omni, Park West, and there are school facilities like Booker T. Washington that I believe are under capacity. And I think it's important for the entire community to begin to look at the resources kind of globally and comprehensively within a certain distance, as Commissioner Higgins said. we want to be able to bring the kids to a location that's nearby. But we don't need every single neighborhood to have every single version of school if we have the facilities available, because that will enable all of the community to gain. And I know that's a touchy subject. I know there's been a huge amount of development in Brickell, very little in downtown, and more every day in Omni. But I think that, you know, as Mayor Suarez said, things are changing, and we'll talk about that during the panel. But I think that we need to present a bigger, broader coalition and not stay only within our surrounding neighborhood.
Thank you so much, Mr. Zizkovich, for bringing that up. Because, and we've said this, we're not going to build our way out of the quality school problem or the access to quality schools in the core. What we need to do is, yes, build to meet the capacity, but we have assets here. Let's strengthen them. Let's get them better, get them to be the best. Like somebody said, use that SAS model to bring them all. Rising tide floats all boats. And get everybody there, so that you're right. I could go to Booker T. Washington, which is at 40% capacity right now, but also has the only engineering program in the county school system that helped build our tunnel. And so you can work with FIU engineers to learn your trade, or the only working planetarium in the South Florida area. So, but it's about getting those assets up. So thank you. I appreciate that. Mr. Monteguito, Jose Monteguito from Zizkovich, your thoughts.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph. And I'm going to echo many of the things that Bernard had talked about, is introducing schools into our urban core. In the background of my shot here is the example of the South Side expansion that we worked on. And I think that addresses two issues that could help relieve some of the challenges of growing the school infrastructure, which has to do with the paradigm scheme that we have for education. The need for vast amounts of acreage to support a school is really a byproduct of a bygone generation. We could integrate urban learning environments in vertical type settings. So there are opportunities, but a lot of those have to do with cultivating partnerships. And that particular project, the Brickell project, is an example of partners welcoming the city housing agencies, the school district, as well as private development to incentivize and create opportunities to bring in the educational resources we need. You cannot have a sustainable community without education. It's just going to require a different way of looking at our traditional schools. Smaller, vertical, still safe, still rich learning environments. The Brickell extension of Southside will have recreational amenities, will have world-class STEM labs, it'll have foreign language, it'll have everything that you expect in a school. So it doesn't necessarily mean that there is any diminishing of the quality of the education. We just have to change the mindset and the paradigms that we've created to accommodate the learning needs of our kids.
Excellent, excellent. Is Commissioner Regalado here with us? She was going to try to come back after her show. If not, I'm going to move on to Ernesto.
Yes, Sam, I'm going to echo. I'm going to add something to the table here. Problem number one, it is definitely we need more schools. And second to none, and this is something that I'm bringing to the table now, and we have not spoken really too much about it, is that we need more vocational and technical programs that will help transition our children that are graduating from high school into institutions like Miami-Dade College. that will prepare them to get to the next step. Not every child, not every youngster is going to be an MBA. Not every youngster is going to be an architect or engineer or a doctor. But, excuse me, electricians, plumbers, transit operators, those are the people that are moving our economy. And everybody has the chance and potential to do the best in their lives. We're good for something, but we're not good for everything. So that's the second thing that I'm bringing to the table, that we need vocational and technical schools, the technical programs in Miami-Dade public schools to help to transition those kids into programs like Miami-Dade College. Not every kid is going to be an MBA. And one point Bernard mentioned about Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington, we have done research, we have done surveys in the area. A state-of-the-art school. Why is under, Bernard, why is it? I'm going to let you know why it's under capacity. 70% of the parents around the neighborhood, they don't feel that there is safety in that school to send their kids. So how can we promote the families that have children in our Brickell area to go across the river, miles away from where their children live, to a school where the parents that live in the area are not comfortable by sending their kids to that school? I mean, that's a deeper conversation that we can have, but that's a reality that is happening. I think that the schools, we are sending the wrong message to the children in our schools. Why are we transporting children from one school miles away to magnet schools in another schools for special programs, when in their own community schools, they can have their own programs. They can have their own quality programs. What we're doing is segregation. We are sending the wrong message to the kids. We're telling them the schools that are in your neighborhood are not worth it for you to educate enough and to empower yourself. That is a mistake. And that's another conversation that we have to expand.
No, definitely. And actually, we're gonna stay on that. First thing I want to do is I'm gonna recap. I wanted to check one thing. Vice Chairman Ken Russell was going to try to join us for the forum, and he specifically wanted to participate in this section if there was an opportunity. Jan, do we know if Chairman Ken Russell has signed on at all? I'm going to assume that that's a no, but I don't want to move off of this issue that we just brought up here with Booker T. Washington and access, because I know I say this all the time. Our school district friends hate to hear when Ernesto says we have no schools. We have no schools in the urban core. So right away, wait a minute. There's a bunch of schools in the urban core. And in fact, there are a lot of schools in the urban core. Old, big schools, almost all of them under capacity. I think Ernesto gave us the disturbing statistic. And I was in the room when we met with the school district who gave us that statistic. That is school district data. Fewer than 25% of the kids who live in Overtown go to Overtown schools or downtown schools. So you can only imagine what that rate is for the rest of the urban core, because there's no way anyone from Brickell is going to go there, downtown residents or others, if the live there are not using their own resources. And so what we've said to the district is, and again, we understand we cannot build schools just to accommodate folks' fears and perceptions. That's not how public education works. But what we can do is say, let's get all of our institutions up to par so that every family feels comfortable walking over to their neighborhood school and know I'm going to get the same comparable education walking over there that I would get in Pinecrest, that I would get in Key Biscayne at Mast, that I would get at SAS, all of those things, walking into those buildings. The other thing is that there's not a deficiency of programming either. There's a medical magnet school in the urban core, but it's a magnet school, which means that we are bringing, again, kids chosen from the outside into the core. If we want to solve our issues, we've got to figure out how to turn that dynamic. So, let's start the conversation with this, because Bernard may have information about this. I know that the district has been looking at ways to enhance, through the GOB and outside of it, the campuses in the urban core. Phyllis Wheatley being one of them, with mixed-use projects similar to what will happen, project proposals similar to what will happen with the upper campus, and also the Omni CRA and partnering with them. What do you know of those projects and where they are in the planning? And what can we do to get Booker T and those others up to a place where everyone, the people in the neighborhood and outside the neighborhood, want to use it and see it as a
let me address that, since I think Ernesto really asked the key question. And I'll take a moment of privilege, since I've been around for a while and lived through these experiences personally as well as professionally. I believe that it's really important to begin with this simple idea that all children are entitled, no matter where they come from and no matter what economic group they've been part of, to have a quality education. And I think everyone agrees to that. The question is next on facilities. There are quality facilities throughout the entire county. The next issue is what Ernesto raises, safety. How do parents begin to feel that it's safe for them to do that? And that's where I think the rub is. Because like every other thing in life, you've got to crawl before you walk and walk before you run. And that's why I'm suggesting that in the context of Booker T, by example, I grew up here. My life involved living in some really tough neighborhoods. As a young adult at Pratt, I was in the ghetto at Bedford-Stuyvesant. It's now called Clinton Hill. My partner, Jose, also went to Pratt. Ironically, I think it was a little bit better neighborhood when he was there than when I was there. But the point is, when I had my young children, there used to be a school board member named Janet McAlilly who took me aside one day and she said to me, Bernard, it's really important for your kids to be part of the public school system because we need diversity of all economic groups in the public school system. And when you only have the kids that can't afford the private school and come from disadvantaged neighborhoods, that reduces the quality level. So it's a self-perpetuating problem, which today in our world, thankfully, everyone is talking about social equity and social justice and equal opportunity and all those things that I think everyone believes in. So then how do you address that? My take is, and this is really, I think, the core of our urban design practice. It's like when you're in kindergarten and you have a coloring book and, all the kids are taught to color each color in the line and not spread out. When we do urban design, we have a lot of trouble coloring in the lines because my feeling and my belief is that part of what affects and infects our public discourse and our public development is that everyone is focused on their jurisdiction and believes they can't ever step outside of that jurisdiction. So I'm now getting to the punchline. My point is, maybe the school system is not the perfect entity today, right away, to provide safe access to Booker T, by example. maybe that needs to be a secondary effort. Maybe there needs to be a way of bringing school kids to a high quality new facility that is absolutely safe and protected. And once they're in the grounds, they will get the education they need. And over time, this is the point, word will spread that if we are successful in making Booker T a magnet school and a high quality school, then people will begin to feel more comfortable. Then those neighborhoods will change. Then people will eventually feel like their kids are safe to go there. But that might take 10 years. That might take 6 years. I have no idea. But my point is that in order to deal with the problem of this immense density and feeling like we need to stay within our own subset of a neighborhood, we need to think that we need to solve this problem, but maybe it's not the school system alone that needs to participate in solving that problem. And that's my answer to Ernesto. I think you're right. I absolutely get it. But Booker T is a fairly new facility with a lot of quality attributes. And I'm not here to push Booker T. I'm just saying, by example, it's our responsibility. I sent my kids to public school. It's our responsibility to do what we can to improve all of the neighborhood so that we can use all of our public facilities to help engender the best education.
Definitely. And look, let me say this about Booker T, because again, it's also about perception versus reality. I've actually, again, in 2015, when we started this, we went out and met with the folks at Booker T along with the foundation, the Alumni Foundation, and really walked the campus and talk about programming. There are 7 academies in Booker T, Washington, including the Architecture and, as I said, Planetary Sciences Academy. There's a Finance Academy that's world class. It has the only working planetarium. It is one of the only high school campuses that looks like a college campus. It has a full quad, and it's at 40%. Commissioner Higgins, safety was brought up here, and people are not going to take their kids to a place that they feel perception-wise is not safe. And you mentioned these transit-oriented neighborhoods. In my vision, I always imagine high schoolers getting on the Metro Mover, getting on the Metro Rail, and getting off at the Booker T station. The station is right across the street from the school. What could the county, working with the school district and the city, do to provide that envelope of safety and comfort that will get the community to get back on that campus?
I mean, I know the stop you're talking about, where I, from time to time, have gotten off and walked through the neighborhood, and it does not feel as safe as it could or it should. So a parent, unlike a parent that puts their child, their high schooler, on the Metro Rail to go to New World, feels very safe, right? They walk 2 blocks from government centers, great police presence, got Miami-Dade County Police. So there is a lot to be done there. You were also presuming people completely live near a Metro Rail stop, because there is no mover stop. There's also the chance of improving trolley service to go into Booker T, by the way, you could, theoretically, and there's all kinds of other ways to essentially get these folks in. But Booker T, the reality is our neighborhoods are young neighborhoods, and we have a lot of young families with kindergartners, elementary school children that are now getting ready to go to middle school. And so the crisis for seats is certainly, we have a crisis for seats at the high school level, right? But the crisis is much larger for the younger kids. And that is something that there is absolutely no reason that the school board makes children of taxpayers, right, go to a whole other neighborhood in a whole other car to go to elementary school and middle school. And middle schools are getting a little bit old enough that they could maybe go somewhere on their own on public transportation. But That's when I'm talking about transit-oriented neighborhoods. We do have a crisis where if you live in downtown and are a downtown parent, you cannot send your child to an elementary school. There is none, right? Now you can get in your car and drive other places, but that is not helping the county with its environmental goals, its traffic and transit goals. And I do believe we need to find a way to make sure that we have dedicated seats for everybody, whether they're in downtown, Brickell, Park West, Edgewater, in this sort of urban area. And that is going to require adding some school capacity. And, you know, I am very pleased to say, despite both of these schools will be opening in 2022, the South Side School would not have been possible without an incredibly innovative collaboration between Miami-Dade County and the school board. It's the first project of its kind where we had two problems in one neighborhood. We don't have enough affordable housing and we don't have enough school seats. And it took a long time to get it over the finish line because it was the first time we've done a transaction. But the county basically is allowing county land to have a school be built, a public school built, and at the same time, we're moving a few things around to be able to put some affordable and workforce housing there. So that is an incredibly innovative solution to an urban area. And we just saw the beautiful plans design. The county approved all of the zoning things about a month ago. The permitting for that will be going through the South Side expansion. The middle school there will be going through the county because it's part of a county rapid transit zone. So therefore, if anybody finds any permitting going slow, I'm the person you can call to make that happen. We also know that Matter Prep will also be opening in the fall of 2022, and they are in permitting. You heard the Mayor Suarez talk about making sure those permits go quickly. Sometimes permitting can take longer than construction in the city of Miami. We all know that. The county too can be a little slow. So getting schools priority and permitting are crucial. I think many of you on this call came to a public meeting we had about a year ago where I was looking at the 27 acres of county-owned land around Government Center to see how we could better utilize that and essentially turn it into another transit-oriented neighborhood. But because it's county-owned land rather than private sector land, I can also generate some public benefits off of that. So as we build office space or as we build housing and apartments, I can also put some affordable housing in, workforce housing, and make school space available. And COVID kind of slowed a little things down as Mayor Jimenez had to turn his attention to COVID, as did we as commissioners. But I'm proud to say that the team that has worked on the initial vision met with Mayor Levine Cava to talk about our vision for this redesigned area where a school would be an integral part of that. And we would be adding school seats, and what we are able to do with the county, right? That's the public good. The cost of land can be taken out of the mix to be some sort of an incentive, the way Mayor Suarez was describing that. So the mayor and we have a team of professionals that are working on getting a presentation ready for the public, where the public would be people like you, would be neighbors, folks that are interested in transit, and also, of course, developers, because if they're not interested in building and giving us feedback. And so we have all committed to doing that and reporting back to you in March, because it wasn't just schools that you asked for, right? You asked for a community space with some green space. We really need a library that feels more accessible versus the one that's in that fortress, which again, it's a safety. I mean, maybe it's a perception issue, but when you're walking up kind of a dark thing with a little carriage and a couple toddlers, you don't feel safe because you don't know what's around the corner. So a new library would be part of this. And so there's a lot happening, and we will be getting together with all of you in March on that perspective. Further up north, we have another school in permitting up on Biscayne in 56. So there are things happening while we wait to improve Booker T, but we got to get the young kids in seats. Otherwise, the parents aren't even going to be here to use the high school.
No, it's very true. Very true. Look,
Sam, may I also add something?
Yes, go right ahead.
Since we opened this with the subject of all the special school board initiatives that are being focused on in terms of the collaboration with the county on the Southside expansion and the working on Phyllis Wheatley and developing school board properties to expand IPREP. I just want to add that as a representative of the Downtown Neighbors Alliance, while we are incredibly supportive of these projects and very excited that they're happening because they will grow the landscape, I want to emphasize again that unless seats are specifically designated for residents of the Central Business District and Park West, none of these projects will help us one bit because we will still not be able to access those schools. So this is the question that needs to be addressed.
No, that's a look. I went to magnet schools. I credit magnet schools for putting me where I am today and making me a successful person. And I always say this: I wish every school was a magnet school, because magnet schools have extra resources, specialized programming, and specialized instructors to help build success. We can take that model and put it in any school, in every school, so that you don't have to compete to try to get into a program. That program is there and available and accessible to you. And I think Joy brings up that point. We don't. We used to think that as taxpayers, we pay our taxes, so there's definitely a seat available at that school for my child because I'm a taxpayer. But that's not how it works. Not at all anymore. And especially with magnet and specialized programming, these kids and your family are interviewing to be hosted, and it's at their pleasure. We need to change that model, especially in the urban core, because it's dragged down our schools because they don't have enough kids in them. And so it's dragged down their grade levels, and it's a ever-feeding monster. One thing feeds into the next. I want to close because we've got a little bit of time left, and I want to close with this. Ernesto mentioned special programming, and I thought, because all of you said the same exact things, I knew what you were going to say. We don't have enough seats. We don't have enough capacity at the places that we're at, and there's not enough money going to them to do the things that I need to make the school really worth it for me and my family. So, as we leave, each one of you, tell me what it would take, what you want to see in order for you to really feel like you're getting that fulfillment of the promise that was made to you when you came here, that this was going to be the place that you could live, work, play. And I know they hate when I add learn because they didn't throw that in there, but learn together safely. What's it going to take? For you, because some of you are already gone in terms of your kids are not in school in the urban core anymore. You may be thinking about moving out of the core because it's easier just to transport them to Pinecrest. It's easier to go to Gables High. What's it going to take to stay here? Let's start with Abby. And real quick.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know it was. I have a 10-month-old, so I hope that by the time he's of school age, Southside Elementary would have more seats available, less capacity, and I think it's a great school. I also have an 8-year-old boy who I am homeschooling for the moment, and until there is not a greater education within my community, I will not take him to a local elementary school, perhaps for high school. When Booker T. Washington or there's a neighborhood school that's easily accessible, I would consider taking him there. But in the meantime, we have great home education, and my son is getting ahead of the game. He's a second grader and basically very close to being done with the year. So we shall see. I don't have an answer to it, but I'm optimistic, and I'm thankful for this forum and allowing us the platform to discuss such an important topic.
Thank you, Abby. Look, you heard it from the mom's mouth directly. All right, let's go next with Christina Alessi.
Well, my hope is that all children in every corner of this great city has the same access to quality education, like I have at Southside Elementary. We do have a great school model there. I just wish there was more seats to accommodate everybody. And I really, truly wish that for every single child that lives in our city, and to have programs just like magnet school programs have, that should be available in every single one of our public schools. There's no excuses why it's not.
Thank you. Lala.
Well, unfortunately, my children,
You're one of the ones who didn't make it. That's right.
they grew outside Southside Elementary. They're 13 and 14. I started this whole advocacy when my kids were in kindergarten and first grade. They are now 8th and 7th graders. So, yep, we didn't make it, unfortunately. But I still have the hope that we can have a very good quality school for high school, because what was my main goal and started as a middle school, kids outgrew that, and I have a high schooler next year and this year in the fall. So unfortunately, no, I don't have an answer for you. I've had to move out.
Yeah. School for Advanced Studies. They're amazing.
Then
No, you.
lottery and
I know.
really hard.
It is.
So it makes it really hard.
Well, and I again, I want folks to understand this is the cost. We keep talking about, in theory, people move, but this is the cost. People do leave. Next, let's go to Joy Prevor.
So like many young professionals who move to the area as a couple or as singles, we moved here with no thoughts about kids. And all of a sudden, kids became part of the picture. And we've struggled ever since to figure out what to do. And what I'd like to focus on is the impact that has on the community building, because we no longer have what so many people have throughout America, which is that you live in a neighborhood, you go to school together, you go from elementary to middle school together. And I think that it is tearing at the fabric of our community. So I'd like to leave it with that. You can't sell this as a place where we live, work, play, learn, when we can't even be a community.
Yeah, thank you. Next, let's go with Jose Monteguito. Jose, are you still there? All right, let's go with Elena.
Sorry about that. Sorry
no,
about that.
Okay.
No, my audio wasn't working for some reason. The thing that I'm encouraged is the energy that this group is bringing to this subject. So what I hope to see is this continued dialogue, because in order to have a sustainable, viable community, we absolutely need the schools. So this is really a process that needs to sustain itself to actually realize these schools, because we absolutely could solve this problem. So I just applaud the group and offer any assistance I could provide in helping you achieve it.
Thank you so much, and we will take you up on that offer. We will.
Fantastic.
Let's go with Elena Bondarenko. You still there, Elena?
I am here. Sorry, I was muted. I was saying that just like Lala's kids, my son definitely did not make it to reap any benefits of the advocacy that we did and keep doing, unfortunately, and aged out of anything that's available in Brickell. So, and it's sad. It's sad that now our kids have to go to school to a completely different place. And high school right now, yes, it's hanging over our heads. And I don't know if any parent can comfortably say that, look, I live in a neighborhood, and especially when you talk about elementary, and I'll just hope that my kid can get into some magnet program that's decent. And then if they don't, then who knows what's going to happen. I mean, it is a very, very hard pill to swallow. for the residents. And in order to build a sustainable neighborhood, whether you talk about businesses or just residential neighborhood, it does require a community that believes in its future and in staying there. And so far, anyone you meet on the street here, they're like, look, I mean, we're here now, but we got kids. So we probably have to move. And it's a sad situation that needs to be addressed on a very different level, right? Legislatively and in the way that new developments are approved and in the way things are calculated and built.
Definitely. Bernard?
I think that the most important thing that could come out of this, like my partner Jose said, is that everyone is enthusiastic and that there seems to be a lot of energy. As Commissioner Higgins said, I'm especially interested. By example, we were successful with our client Housing Trust Group, HTG, to do the replacement for Rainbow Village. And we proposed that in exchange for some public amenities that we wanted to put in, that we interact with Dade County Schools to work and replace Dunbar, which is in terrible shape. And we're currently working on trying to get the developer, the city, the county, and the school board to find a way so that everybody gets something. So there's some transfer of excess land to the developer. The developer would build a new school. The new housing would help to supplement the school. So my belief system, and I can also speak for Jose, because we basically attack things from two different points of view. I think the most important thing that could come out of this is some kind of cross-jurisdictional effort, because as I've done this for all these years, it's everybody in this sphere knows that if you need to get different agencies to all cooperate and then also get private investment, it's challenging, and it would be great to find a way to get the different entities to help each other. And I think that's starting to happen. We just need to put more oomph into it.
Definitely. And as residents and stakeholders, we'll help push you on that. I'll push on that. Commissioner Higgins.
I might just follow up a little bit on what Bernard said, because in the past year, I was the chair of the Community Disparities Committee, which looked at things that hold people back, for lack of a better, of which there are a lot, to create the gap between the rich and the poor and the wealthy and the not so wealthy and those with access and those without. And one of the things we studied in a think tanky fashion was land banks, and what kind of land banks exist and how they've been implemented throughout the country. And we invited the foremost expert on this from Emory University down to talk to the committee. And just very briefly, land banking takes, like, the county has land, right? In the case of Southside School Board has land. The city of Miami has land. By the way, faith-based communities have a ton of land, depending on where you are. And there's a continuum of how land banking transactions can happen, where you could actually, other communities have set up a structure where once you decide you'd like to do a combined project between the school board and the county, that there's actually a group that sort of sets up all of the structure behind it. So it doesn't always have to be a one-off deal, right? The South Side deal was a one-off deal, which was why it took so long. Phyllis Wheatley, one-off deal. What Bernard's talking about with Dunbar. So I passed legislation last year asking the mayor to look at, is there a chance of implementing a land bank strategy and coming up with a pilot project? And a pilot project could be schools, which is what I worked on with the South Side expansion, but a pilot project could also be for affordable housing, right? I have too small of a county piece of property, but a church or synagogue has a little piece next door. And if we combine, all of a sudden, we have a really economically viable project. So that is something that Mayor Louine Cava is charged with
Excellent. Thank you so much. All right, Ernesto, close us out.
Well, friend, we are not giving up. We are planning to cut that ribbon on the charter school coming up. We are going to be cutting that ribbon for Southside Elementary expansion. And it took us 34 years, but I had hair. I don't have a hair anymore, but I'm looking forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Look, we have a lot to be proud of. You saw the theme of the conference. It's getting over the hump, and we've gotten over the hump. We have a lot of great things coming in the horizon that we're excited about, but we also still have needs and great needs, and we'll continue to work on them.
Do not give up.
We will not give up.
Do not surrender. Never.
I want to thank all the folks, because this didn't come together by itself. I want to thank my folks over at Miami-Dade College Wolfson, the Dream Team, Alito, Vivian, Gian, Michael. I know I'm missing somebody, but all of you, you've been amazing in helping to technically get us out and get our message out. This is a reboot of this event. We went 1 year without doing it, and I feel, and I don't know how you feel, but I feel it is critical and it is an important event to get together to decide on how we build success for our future, for our families, and for our future in the urban core. So I encourage you to stay active. Visit the UCCC website. You'll get all the information on initiatives that we're doing in the community to educate the community on how they can push these initiatives forward, get what we need and what we deserve, get things done for us, not to us, as I always say. But please stay active, stay informed, stay engaged in this process, because that's how change happens. Change doesn't happen from sitting around and watching. It's actually from doing. And we need your help to do. There is a school board meeting happening right now. So as you get off this forum, I encourage you to go to Channel 17 and see what's happening with your taxpayer dollars in terms of getting new school seats. And tomorrow is the city commission meetings, the Miami Commission meeting. Again, I encourage you, pay attention to the commission meeting. Make comments. Tomorrow they're going to be talking about Dade Heritage Trust, one of our partners in education, an important partner in education in the urban core, our historical balance of the urban core. We cannot lose the Dade Heritage Trust. So please stay active, stay informed, stay engaged, and make your voice heard for what you want. We're going to be following up. After this, there will be a video of this forum for anybody who missed it, and then we'll tell you how you can get engaged and keep everybody honest and getting to that promise. Live, work, play, and learn safely together. Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you, Sam, Ernesto. You guys are wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great program. Thank you. Bye.
Everybody.
Stay safe, everyone.
Bye. Look at that.
Yeah, I want to school, please.
That's cute.
We're going to get it for you, buddy. We're going to get it for you. Gian, Michael, Alito, Vivian, thank you. Anybody else from MDC who's still on? Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're really amazing.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. Take care.
Extraordinario.